Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Got a question for you. What good is this healthy way of living if you're not enjoying life? There's so many people out there, and I pick up on things. You just hear the way people talk, like the verbiage that people use in general all the time that just comes to be part of the everyday chitter chatter between people to themselves and whatever. I have this little saying sometimes, and I've done this. I may have mentioned this in a video, or I may have just written it somewhere on Facebook or something. But I've always saying, if you hate Monday, if you dread Monday coming, you're doing something wrong. If you spend all week doing nothing but thinking about the weekend, waiting for the weekend to come, just barely making it to the weekend, or if you sit around just dreaming of other times in the future, just dreaming your life away or wishing your life away, as my mama used to tell me when I was a kid, you might really want to rethink the way you're living your life. Now, nobody else can tell you how to live, and I'm not for sure not going to do this. All this is to do is just to maybe make you think a little bit and go, maybe there's somebody out there that will say, yeah, I'm not really digging this. What am I doing this for? Well, let me say, right off the bat, don't assume. Like sometimes I've had these conversations with people, and people that are stuck in crappy situations sometimes can be a little bitter and they'll lash out. So don't assume that I'm telling everybody they should move to the tropics. I would not be that arrogant to assume myself that everybody out there has the same exact desires or wishes or dreams as I do. I live down here. And also too, it's not like, sometimes people say, actually think like I have some sort of, I'm special or lucky or this or that. I've just chosen a lifestyle. Let me repeat over and over and over again that I'm not the typical, if any of you, I'm learning more and more people look into Costa Rica. I'm not the typical gringo my age down here. The typical gringo my age down here is much better off than I am. They live a lot better. A lot of them come down here and live, they kind of isolate themselves. They live like they do in the States with their money and stuff. Which nothing is wrong with that. People live how they live. But I don't live like that. It's like I've made my choices and I've had to give up some things with those choices. I'm sitting around and sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, Jack, don't be complaining to myself. Because sometimes I even think like, man, I wish I had some more money. I wish I had to be able to do this because, yeah, I'd like to get back out and travel again. I don't accumulate things. I'm not like I'm not big on material possessions or owning a bunch of stuff. But traveling is something I miss a little bit. And yeah, every once in a while there's something that pops up I wouldn't mind getting. But all in all, I enjoy my lifestyle. And I feel like I'm living what I want to do. And I'm about to take that to the next level. I mentioned in I forgot when this was. I lose track of time bad. I think it was a couple of weeks ago about the Costa Rica vacations and retreats and things that I'm working on down here. And like I say, that's not something that I just picked out of the air. I'm going to do this. I've told you I did vacations down here. I've been in tourism for years, even going back to when I was in the States. Whether it's working in hotels, driving limousines, I've always been around tourism. So I just want to kind of bring back my little travel company in a healthy sort of way. And as I'm developing this and as I'm working on more ideas for this, I thought about like how my whole life has been up till now. Everything I've done, always about job, employment, business, whatever. It was just kind of this, okay, what's some way to get money, make a lot of money, get rich, make money, make money, make money. Or just what's the easiest way, or what's the less obtrusive way? Where am I not going to have to work a whole lot? But other than maybe once or twice where I had a spark of passion for a little while, I'm starting to find my calling, find my passion. I want to help people. I want to do something that's healthy. I want to do something that I feel is productive, and I want to do something that's fun. So, even more so, even though I have a good life as it is, for the next chapter of what I'm going to do, you know, career-wise, business-wise, job-wise, it will be related to, you know, my new passion, or my not so new anymore, my almost 3-year-old passion. But that just happens to be me, and I have some specific ideas, and I have some other projects that aren't all related to food. I kind of like to have different things going on at, you know, at the same time. But that's just, I digress. That's just a little bit, you know, that just happens to be my direction. What is your direction? I'm not saying what you should do, but when people always tell me, I try to listen to what people say. I'm actually a pretty good listener if anybody ever needs to get on the couch. But I listen to what people say, and all I ever hear are negative phrases like, well, I can't, or I couldn't do this, or I wish I could do this. Why can't you? That's another question to ask yourself. These aren't questions to answer me. These are rhetorical, just for you to go, let's see. Why can't you change your life? Why can't you do something else? Is it possibly because you got a big mortgage on a house that's probably a lot more square footage than you actually need? And why do you have that house in the first place? Is that to keep up with the Joneses down the street? Because, you know, like, you got to have a certain adequate amount of square footage to be, you know, so people don't look at you funny. What are you going to do with a small house? Are you paying for 3 cars in the family? You know, one a big gas-guzzling SUV, because everybody's got to have a car to get around, and we got to have up-to-date fancy cars, because once again, the Joneses down the street, they got some pretty nice rides, so we got to stick with it. We got to keep up with them. But we have kids, Jack. You don't have kids, you don't understand. I too understand. I got lots of friends with kids down here, and I know kids are crazy expensive. But what do these kids really need? Are you putting them back on the? Are you putting them on the training program just to become another sheep of society? Like, I've got some friends, you know, like, it's like their kids are involved with 87 different activities, which is different to me too. We didn't have activities when I was a kid. We didn't have play dates when I was a kid. We went out and played. We used our mind. We explored. We used our imagination. So, you know, nowadays, you know, there's every kid has about 14 activities. There's like the schedule. You almost have to have a day planner for a kid for the soccer and the karate and the gymnastics and the this and the that. Hell, a kid can't even hardly have any time to play. He's got stuff to be achieving. We are taught to achieve from a very young age. It's about achieving, and if we're not achieving, we're left behind. We're less than. We're slackers. But we have a whole hell of a lot of fun, and we're pretty darn happy. I can't do this lifestyle because there's not fruit where I am. Well, and listen, I don't want to step on any toes here. Like I say, these are just some things I'm throwing out for thought, just some ideas, but I try to think outside of my box, outside of my situation, and what if I'd have somehow stumbled across this lifestyle, but I had been living somewhere that was totally not conducive for this lifestyle? Well, I might not on day one, you know, like, woohoo, I'm going to be raw vegan, pack up the car, move the family out. But, and also I'm sure some of you deal with that where you might be the only raw vegan or vegan, high carb vegan in your family. So yeah, you got people to consider that ain't going to necessarily, you know, pick up and move away. So I know there's a lot of different circumstances out there, and I'm speaking in generalities. I'm giving a few like examples and things about my life and other ideas, but you know, your dreams might be something totally different. Your dreams may be contained, or your passion may be contained. You can stay right in the little town or the city where you live right now. You just have to make changes within your location or within your world where you live. But bottom line on what I'm getting to here is this isn't a life. This isn't a trial run, people, and it's short. And you know, it's very cliche, but I read this one all the time. People share it on social media. I don't know who's credited with this quote. Guess I could look it up. But people, you know, it's always said, nobody gets to the end of their life. Nobody's on their deathbed, and those final words are that I wish, God, I wish I had just worked a little bit more. Or, man, if I'd have just made a little bit, if I had a little bit more money going to the grave, or if I'd have just done what most people are like, I wish I'd have spent more time with my family. Oh, I loved to paint as a kid. You know, I wish I had pursued painting, but that was laughed at. You can't be a painter. That's folly. That's just for silly people. You need to go out and get something and do something practical. But nobody lays on their deathbed and talks about the practicalities. I mean, and I'll leave you with this. Think about it. What do we really need as human beings, as another species, as another animal on this planet? One thing that I learned very quickly when I moved to Costa Rica and started seeing what was around me and seeing the way other people lived and just in general living this lifestyle, is I learned very quickly the difference between need and want. And all these things back in North America that were just kind of like pushed on us, you know, through marketing, through subliminal crap, just being pounded into our heads. This is the lifestyle we're supposed to live. I went to my high school reunion a little over 2 years ago, and it was, I'm talking to people, you know, that they spent at the time, gas was a little bit higher, they spent more on gas in a month, maybe almost as much on gas in a month as it cost me to live down here. And I'm just like, you know, that blows my mind. I know what I was getting at too, and back in the States, it's like with credit, with that easy credit that they still give out even after all the crap in 2008, hell, there's poor folks there. There's people that, I remember one time having a hostess, and if you know anything about restaurants, the hostess at a restaurant, she's kind of the bottom ladder. It's usually some high school kid or something. In most restaurants, they just seat the people, greet them, you know, you have a nice smile, you organize the seating, blah, blah, blah. They don't make a lot of money. And this has been 16 years ago. This young lady had, between her car payment and her insurance, it was about $700 a month. Back then, that was a lot of money. That would have been a lot of money for me, and I was a bartender making bank. But you're expected to have those things, and they get you to buy, and since the credit is so easy, that's where that whole crisis came from, is they're pushing you to get more, to get in over your head, because once you're in over your head, once you got that mortgage and 2 car payments and whatever else, the high interest credit cards, you got handcuffs on, you're locked in. Yeah, you can't go away, because then you'll hurt your almighty credit score. So it is a big nasty system, and I'm kind of getting out there a little bit, but the bottom line, if you get to the end of your days and it wasn't all you wanted it to be, you have nobody to blame but yourself, because then we could get, I won't get into a deeper existential question between free will and predestination, but I believe we have free will. We choose how we go through this life. Yes, we have responsibilities, and there are some practicalities that have to be followed, but in the end, don't fool yourself into thinking there's not choices. You are always making choices, and you're always, with those choices, you're deciding what your priorities are. So, life is short, people. Think about it. Just think about it. This is just, like I say, one of those thought-provoking ones today. It's no conclusion. There's no right and wrong. But if you aren't happy with how you're living, if you have some dreams, if you have a passion, follow that passion. Follow those dreams. We only get one of these lives. It's not about putting your nose to the grindstone and achieving and accumulating possessions. Come on. You all know, if you've even cleaned out a little bit of this, the garbage in the body, your head's at least cleared up to understand that. Anyhow, middle of the week, halfway home. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will see you again soon. Peace.